probably even better than you think. This video is sponsored. The Boston Celtics are officially NBA champions again, and believe it or not, this team is probably even better than you think. This video is sponsored by Squarespace, but a little bit more about them later. While a lot of people spend time talking about how much injury luck played a role in Boston's path to the finals, or about how the Mavericks talking about how much injury luck played a role in Boston's path to the finals, or about how the Mavericks were the easiest possible matchup for them. I think it's worth talking about just how good this team actually is, and looking at how they built a historically great team in an era where it's as difficult as ever to build such a dominant team. Typically, a big indicator of a team being a true contender is having a top 10 offense and top 10 defense. If you go back and look at the champions of the last 20 years, that's something that generally has held true in the vast majority of seasons. Not only did the Celtics meet that criteria, but they ranked number 1 in offense and number 2 in defense. They also clocked an 11.7 net rating during the regular season, which was over 4 points above the number 2 net rating OKC Thunder. This Boston team wasn't just really good. No team was really even close to them. So now we sit here looking at this championship, and there's some disappointment about the finals not being more competitive, which I completely understand. I wish it would have been a better series. But also, nobody should really be that surprised that the Celtics made quick work of this series. They've been this good all season. It just so happens that the Mavericks were the ones that had to try and stop them, which certainly wasn't the best matchup. There are other teams in the West that I think would have matched up better against the Celtics, but that shouldn't take away from how good this Celtics team is. And there's a lot of talk about this team being a super team, but this isn't some quote-unquote super team that was built around amassing as many stars as they possibly could. They drafted their 2 main pieces, with Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum being the core focal points of this franchise for almost a decade now. While Boston has always been one of the most aggressive teams in the NBA when it comes to trying to fill out the roster via trades, it was normally for the Al Horfords and Derek Whites of the world, instead of always trying to go out there and get the biggest names available. Even their 2 big splashes that they made last offseason were for 2 players that had relatively damaged reputations with Jrue Holiday and Porzingis. Jrue Holiday was coming off that disappointing first-round exit with the Milwaukee Bucks, where they were eliminated by the 8th-seeded Heat, due in part to Jrue Holiday having one of the worst shooting performances of his career over the course of that series. Getting Jrue Holiday was, of course, going to be an upgrade for the Celtics just by the simple nature of his defense and the benefits that you get from having another ball handler that can help facilitate your offense.